What's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is Lord PeteyTV here to give you another update for our Mythic Pluses for this upcoming week. What the affixes are, what we're going to have to get into, things we're going to have to take a look at, all that fun stuff. Now, the first thing I kind of want to talk to you all about is our, what these affixes are. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button here. Make sure you go to the Twitch link, which is down below. Make sure you hit that follow button there. If you're looking to support the channel, you know, the best way to do that is going to be to subscribe there. And we're going to end up kind of going right into the situation here. What are our affixes here? So, what we have coming up for next week is going to be Fortified, Bursting, Explosive, Thundering. Okay? So, what this means for us as a whole, let's just quickly, we'll read it down. So, once again, Fortified is non-boss enemies have more health and deal more damage. We get Bursting. I said Bursting, right? Bursting is when non-boss enemies explode on death, causing enemies to take damage, and the higher the level of our keystones, the more damage they're going to end up doing. From there, we're going to have our explosive. Explosive is those the orbs, which we end up having to attack and kill and destroy, and end up going back to there. And then the last thing is going to be our thundering affix that we make sure we have to, you know, wipe and clear from there. So, why are these affixes difficult for the group? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is our tanks, how the tanks are going to have for this week. The tanks this week are going to have a pretty difficult, well, I wouldn't even say it's difficult. It's kind of like a moderate week of difficulty. So, I'm just trying to make sure I got the dungeon list for us, so we make sure we have that in front of us so we can end up talking about it. So, as you all know, and here we go. Okay, so I apologize. So the bosses are going to end up being not so bad, so that's a positive for us. The fortified side of things is definitely going to cause some problems and issues, so we got to make sure we keep an eye on that. In addition to that, it's going to be your explosives. So tanks are mostly going to be dealing with the fortified and trying to assist with the explosives for the healers. Excuse me. The reason why I'm saying that is because the healers are also going to have to deal with bursting. So that means they're going to have to deal with mana. They're going to have to take care of that. They're going to have to take care of a lot of other things. But the most important thing is that the tanks are going to have to make sure that they're going to stay alive during those large pack pulls, and on top of that, they're explosives. Now, after that, we have we'll talk about our healers. Our healers are going to have a pretty hard week if the DPS and the tanks are not on top of their game. The reason why I'm saying that is because bursting is going to cause lots of damage if the DPS isn't watching themselves, and if they're not DPSing the explosives, it's going to cause problems for the healer also. And then on top of that, your fortified is going to take more damage to your tank, so you got to be really careful. All in all, you got to be careful. You got to watch what you're doing. Now, the only thing that I will say is benefit this, and it's just a thought, I'm throwing it out there, you know, just grenade bomb throwing it. With your DPS having to kind of peel off to take care of explosives and then peel back, it makes it a little easier to deal with. And the only reason why I'm saying that it's going to take a little easier to deal with is because you have that moment for the healer to kind of like refresh, take a moment, take a breather, and then go in from there. So we have to be careful of that. Now, the next thing after that we're going to end up talking about is going to be the melee DPS. Melee DPS, all they got to make sure they do this time is make sure they're taking care of their bursting and not just destroying the whole entire group on a whim. And they got to make sure once in a blue moon you might have to peel off to help for explosives because of the burstings. so the DPS have got a little wiggle room this week. Melee DPS is gonna have a little bit more freedom, because the past couple of weeks they've been getting pretty trounced on what they have to deal with. So yes, be careful of that. Now, the other thing I was going to say is now we got range DPS. Range DPS is going to have to be careful of be careful of the same things that melee has to deal with. So make sure you're dealing with those, the melee DP, what's it called? I'm sorry. The ads kind of smooth and evenly, and on top of that, make sure you're helping taking care of an explosive. I know it's a pain. I know it's annoying, but help out a little bit here and there when you can. Now, finally, our healers, like I was saying before, their main priority is pretty much explosive. It's an explosive week for them. It's, people say it all the time. It's quote unquote their job to take care of them. I feel like, it is their job to take care of things, but at the same time, groups only work if you can actually take out all the explosives. So if you're not taking out explosives and your healer's not taking them, then you gotta take them. So remember that. So while going through this week isn't going to be too bad, except for a couple of minor things. Agathar Academy, make sure you're interrupting those scepters as you're running around, killing those mobs. Those things will one-shot people, especially with fortified, so be careful of them. You also have your bursting later on to deal with. That's going to be a little bit of an issue because you're going to have to be pulling all those mobs. You're going to be DPSing all those mobs. Be very, very careful of them. As for explosives, you're going to have large packs towards the end and towards the beginning. You be careful of those. Also, when you're pulling around the what's it called, the tree boss, be careful of him. Quarter stars, be careful of the imps because of the explosives there and the bursting that they're gonna probably. I think they deal bursting. Be careful of them. Sorry, I got a little chest cold. Doctor on Tuesday. Anyway, I digress. So be careful of those guys. Bursting shouldn't be bad there because you really don't have any large pulls. So that's probably going to be one of your better groupings there. Halls of Valor are going to be lots of small pulls and they're going to be quick. The reason for that is going to be because you're fortified. Those guys do a lot of damage. So you're going to really want to keep an eye on those guys, and you're going to want to keep an eye on the explosives on a handful of those packs when you're going through. Bursting shouldn't be a problem there. Ruby life pools is going to be super difficult because there's going to be lots of explosives because you're going to be grabbing lots of ads together at multiple times. Your bursting is going to be going off all the time. Be careful there. You're fortified. Everybody is going to be like smacking you like nobody's business. That place is going to be hell in a handbasket. So be careful of those. Knock HUD offensive, you're going to have to be careful of your bursting in there. You're going to get a lot of those packs that are just so big to deal with bursting. You're going to have to be careful of those. There are also going to be people that are going to be dealing with explosives. You're going to have to be careful of those. So you got to be careful of that. So you have those two things. Now, the other thing is Azure Vaults. You have a lot of groups together that are big pack groups that you can kind of group together. You really can't do that this week because of the fortified, so you have to kind of pull quick, like again, so that you can go through things. Unless your healer can deal with the bursting and the explosives very nicely. Temple of the Jade Serpent, you're gonna have a bunch of the mobs while you're running, like the tainted ripples from the big guys in the first hallway. You have to be careful of those. You're going to have to be careful of regular things just blowing up in general, so be careful of that. So keep an eye on it. Next thing after that is going to be your Shadow Moon's Burial Grounds. Shadow Moon Burial Grounds is, it's not going to be too bad, except spiders, make sure you kick those. The death bursts that are coming out, make sure you're stopping those. Dominations, those guys that are doing that, do not interrupt those guys. Just a reminder, make sure you're kind of going through there. There's a lot of large groups in there, but they're not going to be too bad to DPS down. But the bursting is going to get you. So yeah, so be very, very careful of that. Now, just to kind of sum up everything, just keep an eye on what you're doing this week, and everybody don't go brain dead and just start pulling things like crazy people. Okay, it's not necessarily a good thing for you. It's not necessarily a good thing for anybody else in your group. Okay, now I'm trying to upgrade some stuff in here. I actually just got a new mixer, so we're going to be testing that out, seeing if we can get that working properly. Our microphone, have our XLR cable right here. We're going to actually make sure we get the right parts for that, because this is apparently a 5-pin and the mixer only is a 3-pin. So we're going to get that going and kind of fix up the room a little bit more so it's a little more fluid. So I apologize if you're getting static or anything like that on the microphone. Hopefully that will be cleared up very shortly. I'm going to try to make out some more videos and things like that, so keep an eye on that. And keep an eye on your, have a great vault this week. Like I said before, make sure you hit subscribe here, and make sure you end up going to the Twitch channel, hitting follow there. I appreciate you. We're trying to, grow up our base and see how we're going. All right, love you all. Dream big, keep gaming. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.